Either this was gross incompetence or it was an inside job. I'm going to show you the evidence. And by the end of this video, I want you to make up your own mind, and I want you to drop me a comment down below. Was this just gross incompetence or an inside job? Because to me, there's no in between. Hey everyone, I'm Clayton Morris. You know, last night I was incredibly angry. Today I woke up even angrier as I was watching corporate media all say the same thing, almost as if they've been giving all the same talking points. We need to turn down the rhetoric. From CNN to Fox News to MSNBC to CBS, Face the Nation, all of them. We need to turn down the rhetoric. Even Fox News had the balls to have on an assassin himself, Mike Pompeo, who has been confirmed wanted to assassinate Julian Assange, former head of the CIA. So you're going to ask the former head of the CIA responsible for the assassination of John F. Kennedy, which worked lockstep with the Israeli government to destroy and try to kill and destroy the USS Liberty. You're going to ask the former head of the CIA, and he's going to tell you on your air, we need to tamp down the rhetoric. Okay, no, we don't need to tamp down the rhetoric. We need to turn up the rhetoric. We need to be angry. As Americans, we need to be angry and demand answers. We had a whole January 6th hearing.
Committee will be in order.
Can we have an entire July 13th hearing now to get to the bottom of this with full transparency from these government agencies? I sure hope so. I sure hope so. So let's go through a lot of the unanswered questions today. I'm going to go through point by point by point. And again, at the end of today's video, I want you to let me know down below, is this an inside job or just gross incompetence? So let's start with the first one. Did the Secret Service rebuff the Trump campaign's requests for increased security? Now, that has been confirmed by a number of sources that, in fact, yes, the Trump campaign did request beefed up security, not only on his person, but also at his residences.
But the failure here is absolutely catastrophic. And I got to tell you, the Secret Service should be very careful. I can tell you and absolutely confirm from the horse's mouth, from multiple people, not just one. And I saw Congressman Waltz text this out before on X. There have been repeated requests to increase the security footprint around not just the residences of Donald Trump, but the body itself. And they have been rebuffed. Like I said, I can tell you actual quotes. The Secret Service directors completely failed and candidly should resign today.
However, the head of media relations and PR for the Secret Service today released a statement saying that that is untrue. He writes, this is absolutely false. In fact, we added protective resources and technology and capabilities as part of the increased campaign travel tempo. Okay, as part of the travel tempo. Really? Well, we know from Dan Bongino and other sources that, in fact, they did rebuff these requests. And in fact, they didn't get the added security that they required. So that is a lie. That is an untruth. No wonder the Secret Service is coming out to make these statements. But what's also interesting about this statement, he says, we also increased resources and technology as part of his travel team, as part of his travel detail. Okay, so what then, here's a question, what additional technologies and resources did you employ in Butler, Pennsylvania yesterday for President Trump? Were there drones there? Did the sniper team have some sort of advanced technology that allowed them to protect President Trump? What were the additional resources and technologies that were used? I'd like an answer to that. So that is 100% a lie. The Secret Service did, in fact, turn down additional requests by the Trump campaign to have additional Secret Service detail. We know that to be a fact. So that is a lie from the Secret Service. Why also has Robert F. Kennedy Jr., whose father was assassinated, whose uncle was assassinated by the CIA, rebuffed by the Biden administration to have additional Secret Service detail? President Biden signing his name on turning down additional Secret Service detail for RFK Jr. Why? We can send $200 billion to Ukraine. We can glad hand with Vladimir Zelensky. We can send billions of dollars in weapons to Israel and shake hands with Benjamin Netanyahu. But when a person running for president of the United States whose uncle was assassinated and whose father was assassinated, he asks for additional Secret Service details and we can't provide it to him, something is going on.
And remember that this is a Biden administration which, as you pointed out, has refused to protect Robert F. Kennedy Jr. even when his father and his uncle were assassinated. This is the Democrats in the House actually introduced a bill to strip Donald Trump of Secret Service protection. I mean, these people are crazy.
Okay, the other big questions we have, of course, about the shooter. So let's talk about the moments before the assassination attempt yesterday in Butler, Pennsylvania. Why in the world was this kid allowed to walk around the open fairgrounds with a rifle and then bring a giant ladder, we now know, to climb up the side of a building 150 yards away from the former president with a rifle, climb up a building with a ladder? Then eyewitnesses, who also confirmed this to the BBC, confirmed that they told police that they witnessed a man climbing a roof with a rifle, and he was army crawling on top of a white roof. They told the police this, and apparently they did nothing about it. Watch.
So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking, I'm estimating here, I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling.
Of course, the bigger question we have is, why did the Secret Service not take the shot against this individual on the roof when they had the opportunity to? So let's paint a picture here and go through the timeline of exactly what happened. So the whole thing took about 6 minutes. The rally starts, 6 minutes later, Trump is shot. Here you see the Secret Service detail on the roof looking around, but they are stationed on top of the roof. Then about 6 minutes later, 42 seconds before the president is shot, they are now in a prone position, using their scopes, taking aim at this individual across 150 yards from where the president is speaking. They see him clearly, they know that he has a long rifle, and they do not fire upon him. So they're clearly looking at this individual across 150 yards with their sniper scopes. They see him. Police have already been alerted that there's a man climbing with a rifle on top of the roof. So 42 seconds before the president is shot, you can see the Secret Service sniper team prone position, looking through their scopes in the direction of the shooter. This is after they had been notified by eyewitnesses, and the police had been notified by that individual I just pointed out to you that spoke to the BBC, that notified them of this individual on the rooftop climbing with a rifle, using a ladder to climb up a roof.
Next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
Why did they not take the shot? 42 seconds later, shots rang out and President Trump is hit. Why did they allow him to get off a shot? They see him on this roof. Why did they stand down? Why did they not do anything? Again, gross incompetence or an inside job?
Wait.
All right, now let's talk about the shooter. 20-year-old Thomas Crooks. He's been identified. He lived with his mother and father in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, about 43 miles away from this location. Thomas worked nearby at a local soup kitchen. We now know that both of his parents are professional counselors. That has been confirmed. They are professional counselors licensed in the state of Pennsylvania to practice counseling. I have a big question. Was this individual, Thomas Crooks, on any sort of antidepressants, any sort of SSRIs? The reason I ask that question, and I hope we'll get an answer, because he's not a minor, he's 20 years old, we should have access and be able to hear from the FBI whether or not he was on any kind of antidepressants. Almost every mass shooting in the United States over the last more than decade or so, starting with Columbine all the way up, have one thing in common, and that is antidepressants, SSRIs. Was this individual on an antidepressant, and who gave him the prescription for antidepressants? Was it any one of his parents, who are professional counselors, who of course can write prescriptions and allow their son to be on antidepressants or SSRIs? I'd love to know the answer to that. We also know that he had a large amount of explosives in his parents' house. We also know he had explosives in the vehicle that he drove to the location to carry out the assassination. So if you're a counselor, your job is to counsel, to understand human behavior. How do you not see that your son is making explosives in your house? The other questions we have, of course, was he a lone wolf, a lone gunman, working by himself? Mike Benz pointing out, cybersecurity expert Mike Benz pointing out that last night his Facebook, his Instagram, Thomas Crooks's Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms and YouTube channel were being wiped and content was being removed. Who was removing this content? Was it the tech companies removing this content at the request of somebody in the federal government? I would love to know that. He's dead. Who's removing content from his social media accounts? Again, none of this is conspiracy theory. All of this has been confirmed by the evidence and eyewitnesses and law enforcement on the scene who are giving us this information. So let's recount. Why did the Secret Service, who had him in their sights 42 seconds before he fires on the president, not take the shot to take this guy out? They see a man with a rifle who's clearly not part of the Secret Service with a rifle on a rooftop. Why do you not shoot him? Why do you not take him out? Did someone tell the Secret Service to not take the shot? We'd love to know the answer to that. Why were eyewitnesses able to witness this individual climbing up a roof, using a ladder, carrying a rifle, and no one did anything about it? Why did the Secret Service rebuff the Trump campaign's requests for additional security, additional Secret Service detail? Why was that rebuffed? Should the director of the Secret Service be fired? Director Kimberly Cheadle. Another question we have, who's scrubbing Thomas Crook's social media accounts, removing content from his social media accounts? And another big question I have, was he on SSRIs? Was he on some sort of an antidepressant? Who prescribed that medication for him? And how far in advance were these threats known by law enforcement? Did the FBI have him on their watch list? Were they aware that he was building explosives in his parents' house? What information did they have ahead of time about this individual? All of this, I hope, will be explained to us, but will be revealed transparently. And the last thing that we should be doing is tamping down the rhetoric. We should be angry. We should be demanding answers. And I hope that we get them. So guys, let me know down below. What do you think? Was this gross incompetence or some sort of an inside job? Did somebody on the inside know what was about to happen and tell the Secret Service to not open fire on this individual? What information did they have about this individual beforehand, before Trump arrived in Butler, Pennsylvania? We'd love to know. But when you see the corporate media telling you to tamp down the rhetoric, that's because they want you to be sheep and they don't want you to ask tough questions. Don't be sheep. Let me know down below your thoughts on this. Thanks, everyone.